What is up, Insaners, and welcome to another video of the Fantasy Premier League 2022-23 season. In this one, guys, we're going to talk about some players to buy and sell for Game Week 11 and beyond. We'll also cover a wildcard draft and we'll answer some key dilemmas for Game Week 11. So if you like what you see today, guys, make sure that you hit the like button. You can also subscribe to the Insanely Football YouTube channel for more FPL content. And with that, let's start today's video. Now we'll start with the players to sell this week, guys. In case if you have players like a Trent Alexander-Arnold who's facing Man City this week, or even a Reece James who's against Aston Villa. Now guys, both of them are flagged. Now we know that both of them aren't really long-term injuries, but there are a lot of money, guys, who can easily downgrade these players and then invest more money in midfield or attack with a real value, real FPL points, and a huge potential exists. So I think both of them are sells this week, guys. There are a lot of replacements which we'll just talk about in a moment. Now in case of other options, if you also have a Luiz Diaz who's also out until the end of the World Cup, guys, maybe even beyond that, I think he's also an easy sell. You have a lot of options in that 8ish million price bracket as well. Of course, you can go a bit higher towards the Salah as well. So there are options there, but I think he's also an easy sell this week. Now in case if you have Mitrovic, guys, and I think it is not a very easy call. In case if you have nothing else to do, if you have Mitrovic in your team, who may not feature this week. I mean, it's still a doubt. It's not a confirmed no. But let's say if you get some confirmed information that he's not featuring this week, guys, I think there is a chance to get rid of Mitrovic. Yes, the fixtures are decent. I mean, yes, Mitrovic, if he plays, he can do well. But there are options to go for. There are slightly higher potential options to go for, especially if you are in a wildcard, guys. It's very easy to get him back on a wildcard. But again, you can possibly go for different options in attack and gain advantage there. Now coming to the players to buy this week, guys, in case if you are looking at a Trent replacement or a James replacement, if you let's say don't have a Trippier, I think he's, of course we've not mentioned here, but I think Trippier is already owned by a lot of people. So if you're looking for a replacement, I think he's the best replacement for a Trent and a Reece James, guys. Now in case if you already have a Trippier, for example, then there are a lot of options to go for. You can go for Mark Guehi from Crystal Palace. We know that Crystal Palace haven't really kept a lot of clean sheets, but the fixtures were quite tough, guys. Now the fixtures are getting easier. There is a potential for them to keep clean sheets. Guehi, as we know, guys, he also has some goal threat, so he can score goals from set pieces, maybe a corner, for example. So there is potential there. You can go for a Guehi. In case if you're not convinced by Crystal Palace, or if you think it's a very plain, simple, vanilla pick, you can also go for somebody like a Lewis Dunk, maybe a Webster from Brighton, guys. Both of them are decent options to go for. Brighton have really good next two fixtures, guys, and you can easily target them. They can even get you an attacking haul. There is clean sheet potential as well. So I think if you are looking at a differential option, I think a Lewis Dunk is a decent one to go for. Now, if you're targeting the differential category, guys, there's Matt Doherty as well. I know not a lot of people are talking about Matt Doherty because, of course, he's playing for Spurs. Spurs aren't really known to be the best defense, keeping a lot of clean sheets. But I think Doherty, if you're looking at a high upside player, I think there is haul potential with a Doherty, and he's also a differential replacement for a Trent and James. So these are the options to go for in case if you're looking to change these two defenders, guys. And moving on to the Luiz Diaz replacements, there are a lot of options to go for. So if you, let's say, don't have a Madison or a Zaha or maybe a Bowen, I think those are the three options that I would prefer. In case if you want to go cheaper, let's say, as I mentioned earlier, if you want to invest some additional money in attack, maybe upgrade a different midfielder, maybe get towards a Salah, for example, and you need some money. So I think in that case, a Trossard also against a Brentford team who have looked quite leaky, he's also a great option. He's also a captaincy option, but let's, of course, not kid ourselves. Not a lot of people are going to captain a Trossard, for example, this week. Most of them are going to go for Haaland, but I think in isolation, he's still a great option to go for. Next week, it's Forest as well. So there are two good fixtures to target from an attacking sense. We know that he's been Brighton's main man in attack, and he's getting a lot of returns. So I think he's a great option to go for. Now, in case if you are looking at a Mitrovic replacement, for example, then there's Edouard as well. Now, I know a lot of people would think that he might not be nailed, but I generally feel, considering the performances that he's put over the last couple of games, guys, I think he's a nailed option in that Palace team. Palace have decent fixtures. Yes, we know that Zaha is the main man for Palace, but Edouard can also benefit from the likelihood of a Zaha, for example, getting points. So I think there is a lot of potential in Edouard as well. There are conversations about a Daka, but then again, he can share minutes with Iheanacho. There's Wadi as well in the mix. Then you have somebody like a Skamaka as well, guys. I know not a lot of people again are talking about Skamaka because he's an ultra differential. There are chances of, at least people think that he might share minutes with Antonio, and that could absolutely be a possibility. But I generally feel, guys, that Skamaka starts at least the next 2 out of 3 games, and there is potential. We know that he's a good quality player and he can give you FPL points. So he's also an option if you're going for an ultra differential pick, guys. Skamaka is also a great option to go for. Now let's move on to a wildcard draft, guys. Now, in case if your team is in a really bad shape for Game Week 11 or even 12, for example, and you need a lot of surgery, I think there is a case to be made to play a wildcard, play the chip this week instead of, let's say, Game Week 13, where you could again get on Man City and Arsenal players. You can possibly get a balance, maybe get a mixture of at least 2 or 3 players from Man City and Arsenal, keep them on the bench. You can also manage to get in a playing 11 for Game Week 12 and then save a transfer in Game Week 12. So that will give you 2 free transfers in Game Week 13. And with that strategy, guys, you can kind of get back onto the Man City and Arsenal players with those 2 free transfers. Maybe even take a hit. Again, a lot of people say that it's not ideal taking a hit after the wild card straight away. But then if they're high upside moves, if they are high potential moves, the hit might just be worth it at the end. So in case if you're going for a wildcard team, guys, this is how it's probably going to look like. You have safer options in Gohi, for example. You have cheaper options in Dunk. And then we have the 5th defender as Neco Williams. Of course, we have Cancelo and Trippier. We've retained both of them. Both of them aren't really very differential options. A lot of people already own them. In goal, I think, is where things get very interesting. We have Kepa, who's kind of found a place in the Chelsea playing 11, guys. Now, whether that place is going to stick or not, I think that also depends on the performances. But it's clearly looking like Potter is preferring Kepa. And Kepa in that price point, he's a great option. Of course, he's a part of a premium defense. Chelsea, if they can sort out their defense, it can get better. He can get clean sheet points. We know that they don't really concede a lot of shots, so he might not end up making a lot of saves. But there is clean sheet potential, guys, and in that value, I think he's a great option to go for. The second option is still Ward. I think he's still the number 1 keeper in the lesser team. He's not going to get replaced by Iverson by the looks of it. And I think a 4 million playing keeper is still a decent bet to go for, guys, especially if he's not your main keeper and he's just going to be on the bench for most games. Now, in terms of our defense, guys, we've not gone for Trent. Of course, he's injured. There is a possibility that we might move to a Trent, maybe a Robertson, maybe a different Liverpool defender, considering that the fixtures are really, really good. And we can make certain downgrades in midfield and in attack to get that move done. Now, coming to midfield, and midfield has the likes of Zaha, Maddison, and Martinelli, guys. Maddison and Martinelli, I think they're quite popular picks at the moment. Even Zaha is reaching that popularity, guys. I think they're all really, really good options. In Maddison, of course, when the fixtures get tough, we can get to a Bowen. There are different options as well. We can get to a Foden as well, who's looked really, really good. And I think when Man City, again, from Game Week 13, we can easily get to a Foden. We have options. We have some money in the bank here as well. So that move is absolutely possible, guys. The 5th midfielder here is Andreas Pereira. I think he's still a great option to go for. I've seen a lot of drafts, I've seen a lot of teams where people are going for a heavy hitting 5th midfielder. But I think Pereira can do the job as your bench player, guys. He's not a lot of money. He can get you FPL points. We know that he's creative. We know that he is a part of that Fulham attack who's gonna do well in case if Fulham does well, guys. So I think Pereira is still a decent option to go for. Here we've retained that premium spot, guys. So we have Salah in this team right now. A lot of people would have KDB without the wild card, let's say. I think Salah, I know it could be a double-edged sword, guys. I mean, it could be an advantage as well, whereas Salah might just be back at the old self where he's playing out wide. So I think it really depends on the position of Salah in that Liverpool attack, guys. If he's more central, if he's more closer to the goal, and he's having significant goal threat, guys, I think he's still a great option. I mean, we've already seen, of course, Rangers was a different level of opposition. We might not have that sort of an opposition in the Premier League. Of course, there's a big debate to be had there. But I think Salah, if he can play central, I mean, Liverpool is a team who's still managing to score goals in spite of not being able to win games, maybe not even keeping clean sheets. They're still scoring goals, and I think Salah is going to be a part of that huge attacking setup, guys, considering that Diaz is also out now. And I mean, we can't really say that Salah's minutes are going to be risky. Yes, because of the fixture schedule, because of how tight the fixtures are, there could be some rotation. Maybe he plays lesser minutes, but I still feel Klopp sees that Salah is that main man in attack, guys, and he would really, really want him to fire and get a lot of goals for the Liverpool team. So I think he's a great option to go for. We can easily downgrade him to a different option, maybe an 8-ish million midfielder, maybe get to a Foden, maybe go towards a Son or a KDB. So there are a lot of options to go for, but I think Salah on a wild card, considering that Liverpool have really, really good fixtures, I think that's a good bet to go for. Now, in terms of our attack, guys, we've retained Haaland. I don't think so there's a conversation to be had there. In the other two options, we don't have a Mitrovic. There are doubts about his fitness, etc., and we don't want to take that chance. This also kind of gives us an opportunity to look elsewhere, to shop for a forward, guys, and we've gone for Scamacca. West Ham have decent fixtures. There is a potential upside with Scamacca. I don't think so. A lot of people are looking at him right now, and I think he looks like the main man for West Ham in the attack. He's playing really well. He's starting games for West Ham, and that's what we want from our forward guys. And I think he's a great option to go for. We also have Tony, and Tony's kind of a safe pick. I mean, he's a nailed option. He's the main man in that Brentford attack. He's also on penalties. He will score goals if Brentford are doing well. So there is that safety net with Tony as well. We have that risky options Kamaka as well. I think it's a great trio in attack in the forward line, guys. So this is the team that we have. We have about $1.5 million, something on those lines in the bank. And I think there is flexibility to move around certain players. So I think, do let me know what you think about this team. Are you wildcarding in game week 11, or what's your wildcard plan? First of all, I mean, do you still have the wildcard remaining? Do let me know in the comments below. Now guys, let's jump out to some key dilemmas for game week 11. First of all, what to do with Mo Salah. I think we've not really imagined a lot about Mo Salah, considering that he's been such a great FPL player for a long time. But this season's been different, guys. I mean, he's not looked the same this year. There is no hiding from that fact. But it was a pleasant change seeing Salah getting benched. Maybe he got that motivation. Of course, there was a slight change in structure, change in setup as well. And we saw that he played a lot more central. He looked a lot more threatening. He scored a hat-trick against Rangers. Now, you can take a lot of things out of that game. I mean, yes, you could jump onto him immediately. Maybe see Salah for game week 11 as well, and then kind of jump on to Salah from game week 12 when Man City have a blank, and maybe you want to do that KDB to Salah switch. So I think this game would definitely alter our thinking, but we have to kind of temper our expectations here, guys. Now, again, whether it continues or not, we don't know, but I generally feel that he has the potential to do well. Liverpool are doing still okay in attack, and I think just from game week 12, read West Ham at home and Nottingham Forest away, guys. 12 and 13, there are really good options. He's also a good captaincy option if he can see some form even against a Man City team. So if you have him right now, guys, I think holding him this week is valuable, especially if you've already used your wildcard. Now he's a classic case of don't buy, don't sell this week. Now, if you have a wildcard available and you maybe have KDB instead, for example, then you can hold KDB and then probably get Salah after seeing his performance against Man City in game week 12 when KDB blanks. Now the next dilemma a lot of managers have is that should we sell Reece James or even Trent, and what are the best replacements? Now James was already a popular replacement for the injured Trent, and then the Chelsea defender kind of got injured against AC Milan. Now I think he's likely to miss Sunday's trip to Aston Villa. There's still a chance that he may be back next week to face Brentford on Wednesday, or maybe even Manchester United on Saturday. But again, we don't know that. I mean, there's no confirmed news on that yet, guys. So with James at least out for one game week, there is a chance for FPL managers for you to jump on from him and maybe get to a different option, considering that Chelsea have slightly trickier games coming up from a defensive point of view. Now regarding replacements, guys, as I mentioned earlier in this video, there is a lot of value in going cheaper and maybe putting in additional money in midfield or in forwards as well. Now there are a lot of high potential options as well. If you want, you can go for a Trippier, who's the best possible replacement for both Trent and James. He has a lot of output to points, guys. I mean, he's been really good. He's also been probably the best defender from an FPL point of view, at least. He's creative. He's on set pieces. He also tends to be among the bonus points. So I think he's a great option to go for. He's just blanked twice in 9 appearances this season. He scored a goal, he's gotten 2 assists and 4 clean sheets. So he's a complete package, guys. And if you're looking at a replacement, if you still don't have him, I think you should get him. Now, in case if you have him, guys, I think Mark Guehi, as I mentioned earlier, from Palace is the next best option. You can also go for Luis Diaz, who has a good next 2 set of fixtures. So you can target Dunk in the short term, target Brighton in the short term. Even defensively, they can keep clean sheets. Let's say if you want to go a bit risky, there is an option to go Chilwell as well. There could be some shared minutes with Cucurella in the mix, but I think he's definitely worth the upside. You also have Matt Doherty from Tottenham, guys. I think both of them have a decent chance to start the upcoming games, and they have okay fixtures, so you can definitely go for them if you're looking at a differential option. Again, at the end of it, guys, James is still not a priority sell. I think if you have Trent, maybe you sell him, but James, I still feel, because he can feature in the coming games, I think he's not a priority sell. You can easily hold him, get more information for game week 11. Maybe bench him if you can easily play 11. I think you should definitely bench him. Don't possibly sell James this week. And then you can, let's say if you're not, and let's say if you can't field a playing 11, guys, then you go for these options that I've just mentioned. And you can, again, invest more money in attack, go different ways. So there are a lot of options to kind of go for. Now let's talk about the next dilemma. Who's the best Luis Diaz replacement? As I mentioned, guys, there are a lot of options at 8ish million price point. So if you, let's say, don't have a Madison, for example, I think he's a great option to go for. You can also go for a Zaha. Then there's Bowen as well if you're looking for an ultra differential. In case if you can manage to field a playing 11, guys, I don't think so. Foden is also a bad option. I mean, I know it might not make a lot of sense to a lot of people getting in a player who's blanking the next game week. So your plans might alter the week after this. But then again, if you can easily bench him, if you can afford to bench him, have a playing 11, maybe even 10 players. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have 11 players in game week 12. So if you want, Foden is also a long-term good option. I mean, the fixtures are really good. You know that he's playing for the best attack in the Premier League, guys. He's also in great form. So I think if you are looking at an option, maybe a long-term option, I think Foden is the one to go for, guys. He's got 6 returns in the last 3 Premier League games, and I think he's absolutely flying at the moment. Let's say if you can't get Foden, guys, maybe because of how your team is structured, then you possibly go for one of Maddison, Zaha and Bowen, guys. You can easily hold these players till game week 13, then maybe jump off to a Foden or a Saka. Both their underlying numbers are really impressive, guys, and you can easily go for him. Now, if you're looking to attack the fixtures in the next 2 game weeks, and if you want to save some money, I think Trossard, as I mentioned earlier, is also a great option to go for. He's facing Brentford, who have been leaky. There is a haul potential. Then it's Forest, who we all know they tend to concede a lot of chances every game, guys. So there is a couple of hauls in there for Trossard, so you can easily go for him. Now let's move on to the next dilemma, guys. Is it okay to transfer in City or Arsenal players this week? Now I think to me, it's a case of how your team is structured, guys. Suppose you're in a position to field anywhere between 9 to 11 players for the blank game week 12 when Man City and Arsenal are blanking. I think you should be okay to transfer in any Arsenal or Man City player this week, guys. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have 11 players. Of course, that's ideal for game week 12. But there will be a lot of managers who will have Man City and Arsenal options, and they might not be able to field a playing 11 unless they take, let's say, -4s, -8s, even -12s, considering how the team is or how the condition of the rest of the team is. Man City this week, guys, they have an open game. It's against Liverpool. Liverpool haven't been that great defensively. So let's say if you're getting in players like a Foden with no wildcard remaining, I don't think so there's anything wrong with it, guys. Man City also has excellent fixtures after game week 11, I think, which will set up your team for the long term. Similar to this case, guys, it can also be said for the Arsenal players. Now, with many managers, they're jumping on to Martinelli and Saka back again, guys. I still don't think so they're priority transfers at the moment. I mean, I would consider Foden to be a more priority transfer as compared to maybe a Martinelli or a Saka. Still, the fixture against Leeds this week, guys, there is potential for the Arsenal attackers, and if you want to go there, it's absolutely fine. Now, I believe that there's no right or wrong answer in terms of transferring a City or an Arsenal player this week, guys. I've seen many managers ditch, let's say, somebody like a Foden or a Martinelli for options like a Maddison, Zaha, or even a Trossard, which is absolutely fine too, guys. I think it depends on 2 factors: how many players you're okay having for game week 12 and whether you have the wildcard or not. These are the 2 factors that should help you with this question, guys. As I mentioned earlier, there's absolutely no single way of playing FPL, and I think it depends on what approach you want to take. If you're comfortable fielding 10 to 11 players for game week 12, then Arsenal and Man City, they can be easily bought. I mean, the players can be easily bought this week. If you already have a combined 4 to 5 players from both these teams, then I think other players with a game week 12 fixture may be better suited for your FPL team. Now, coming to the last dilemma for this week, guys, how many starting players are ideal for game week 12 with no wildcard left? I know it's not a pertinent question for this week, but I think it's important because it can dictate your transfer moves for game week 11 and beyond. So game week 12 is a blank. For those of you who still don't know, I mean, Arsenal and Man City are blanking that week. But now many FPL managers, they have 4 to 5 players from Arsenal and Man City. Now, to make things worse, if you have a bench of players like a James, Trent, maybe Williams, Bailey, Mitrovic, and all these kind of players who have flags on them right now, you might leave yourself in a tricky spot for game week 12. Now, ideally, you would want to have a playing 11, a full playing 11 for game week 12, but the question is how many players are ideal. I think it's difficult for managers to find the perfect number, especially if there's no wildcard remaining. Now, I know many managers with the core of Arsenal and Man City players, they will struggle to field a playing 11, and because of this reason, guys, if you have anywhere between 9 to 10 players, I think you should be fine for game week 12. You can even take a hit to maybe get to 11 players, but keep in mind the slightly long-term picture and just not look at the game week 12 game. Of course, if you don't have the wildcard available, you will be at a slight disadvantage to managers who have that chip available and maybe they're using it in game week 13 or even 11 for that matter, guys. I know a lot of people, they are also planning to play the wildcard in game week 11, get a playing 11 for the blank game week, then save a free transfer in 12, and then get 2 players from Man City or Arsenal, or just play the wildcard in game week 13. So there are options available for the wildcarders, but do not worry, guys, you're not alone in this. I don't think so this blank is going to define your FPL season. Try to get the best captaincy options at least, like let's say for example a Salah, maybe a Trossard, maybe even a Maddison for game week 12, along with as many players as possible closer to a playing 11, guys, and I think you should be absolutely good to go. So that'll be all from my side for this video, guys. I hope I was able to help you with your questions, with your dilemmas for game week 11. Now, I'll see you for the deadline stream in a couple of hours, guys. Make sure you join us for that. If you have any last minute questions, any last minute queries, or if you just want to get some early team news or any sort of leaks, etc., hit like if you enjoyed the video today, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the Insanely Football YouTube channel for more FPL content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you Insaners next time.